What's going on, y'all? Chuck Nunface here. Gonna do a video today about some of my favorite knives that I've picked up in 2024. Now, this list is by no means exhaustive. In fact, there's a couple that I ended up leaving at home that I wish I had brought with me. But, I don't want to kind of get too far in the weeds on that. But just kind of doing a few that I've really liked that I've gotten so far this year. And to be noted as well, these are not knives that necessarily came out in 2024, but they're knives that I picked up in 2024 that I just really enjoyed and that I like quite a bit. So there's some of the favorite knives that I've picked up in 2024. So I'll start out with this one right here. This is the Spyderco Military 2. This one is in crew wear with the micarta scales, colloquially called the crew carta. So it's got the micarta scales on both sides. Obviously, this is the Military 2 is the updated version. It's a departure from the original, which had a liner lock and tip down only carry. So this is now a compression lock, as you can see right here, and it is a 4-position clip option as well. So you can have it in traditional tip down, or you can switch it to the much more popular tip up. Now, for me, I like the old Military. The tip down thing was never really a big deal for me. However, I do know that it's a non-starter for a lot of people. And the liner lock I certainly didn't mind, but I like the fact that they used the compression lock on this now. Now purists will say that it's much different and much changed knife now, and they prefer the older style. I definitely think there's a place for the older style out there as well, but I think they took the best aspects of the Military and the PM2 and they combined them, and here you go. So I really like the paramilitary, or the Spyderco Military 2. What was I going to say about this? I was going to say something else about this one as well. I think this one actually did come out in 2024, the Mili 2. I believe it did. I couldn't 100% swear to that. Let me know in the comments what you think, or let me know in the comments if this came out in 2024, if this was a late 2023 release. I can't quite remember. But yeah, so many of you will also know that I had this knife for 1 month, one knife 24, but it was the CPM S110V version. I ended up selling that, and you probably haven't even seen much of this one, at least if you follow me on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface. I don't think I've even featured this one on Instagram at all. I got it kind of when I was midway through, the month of August, carrying just the S110V Milli, and I kind of got a little fatigued from carrying that knife, so I haven't really done much with it. But I really do like the design. I just knew that S110V wasn't for me. So I ended up moving that one on down the road, but this one I have now. So that is just one. Moving on to number 2. Like I said, well, I don't know if I did say, but this is in no particular order. But the Demco 8020S. This one has just been awesome. I've done a lot of work with this one. I cut roofing tiles with it. Not roofing tiles, roofing shingles, I should say. So it's got a little wear, got some scratches on there. I don't know if it'll come up on camera right there. But in any case, this is a Magna Cut blade. And yeah, it's got the Demco Shark Lock. Not the first 8020 that I've owned. I've owned, the full thickness one. I've also owned a 20.5. Not a fan of the 20.5. It's kind of too small, but, it's really popular, and I can understand why. But I do like the AD20, the AD20 pattern. And the slim version, I think is really good. And I think I unintentionally got one of the better versions, because this has a really nice high flat grind. It's a full flat grind. Whereas opposed to a lot of them are 3/4 grinds, or kind of high flat grinds, stuff like that. But I think I really did well by just kind of lucking into this one and just being ready to pick one up when they were dropped. I think I got this one from USA Made Blade. I think. I couldn't swear to that, but I think I got this one there. But yeah, I like this one a lot. Definitely very cool. Maybe it was Tactical Elements. No, I don't think it was Tactical Elements. In any case, yeah. Got this one. Once again, this is not a knife that was released in 2024, but is a knife that I picked up in 2024 that I've really enjoyed. So wouldn't be a car video unless I dropped a knife, would it? All right, moving on. Microtex Stitch. Now this is a knife that certainly has been around for a while. There's nothing new about the Microtex Stitch. It was a bit of a Microtech year for me. I kind of I kind of binged on Microtex quite a bit. Not for the first time. I've owned Microtex, a lot of Microtex over the years. But I kind of got away from them for a while. Once they kind of moved some of their production to overseas, and they got, these Chinese knives, which they've always labeled as made by Reich Knives. I mean, they never said anything otherwise, but they were very upfront about the fact that they collaborated with Reich Knives, which I'm not a big fan of. Just as a sidebar, if you're a collaboration is like a Bastinelli or a Borka Microtech Design. If you just have some knives made by Reich, that's outsourcing, bro. That's not a collaboration. But in any case, don't want to get too far in the weeds on that either. But like I say, it was a bit of a year of Microtech for me. I binged on Microtech pretty hard. And I had a Stitch ram lock, and I had, I think, 3 Stitch autos. I've never owned a Stitch auto before this year. And I ended up selling 2 off and keeping this one. I sold a full serrated DLC Shadow Edition one off, and I sold an Apocalyptic auto off as well, which I kind of wish I still had. Had I not been hasty in selling off the Apocalyptic, I might have never gotten this one. But this is the Urban Camo. And I like the Stitch, and I like the automatic Stitch. I just like the Ergos better. I think it makes more sense. I think the choil isn't quite as exaggerated as it is on the ram lock. Now, I understand why it is on the ram lock, because they have to accommodate the actual locking mechanism with the shape of the blade. But I just prefer the heft, the feel, ergos, the looks. I just prefer the auto stitch better than I do the manual stitch. Just matter of preference. But yeah, the manual stitch is a good one too, but I prefer the auto, and so this is one of my more favorite knives that I picked up in 2024. Okay, moving on. Let's keep it with Microtech. Microtech Amphibious. This, up until last month, was probably my favorite knife that I had gotten all year. I'm a big fan of the amphibian design. Now, the Microtech Amphibious has been a custom for quite some time, a Marfione custom, not really available in a production. I believe many years ago it was available as a production knife, but it has not been since maybe 2010, 2012. Not sure. Let me know in the comments when these were actually available as production knives. But they came on the scene last year, so 2023, as a ram lock featuring the new ram lock mechanism. And everything about this knife I've just really, really liked. I think the M390 MK does good. I mean, that's basically M390 with a couple of tweaks, making it proprietary to Microtech. But I think it's done pretty well. And if you look at some hardness testing, I believe Apex Alchemy has done some HRC testing on these, and they've all scored pretty high. All above 60, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. But go check out his channel. I'll link it in the description down below, Apex Alchemy. He does a bunch of HRC testing for knives, so you can actually just send knives into him, and he'll end up testing them for you. But in any case, yeah, this is, the recurve design, the aluminum scales. This is available in G10 or aluminum. I couldn't possibly recommend aluminum more. I think it's a fantastic handle material for this type of knife. I think I've really come around to aluminum this year, as a matter of fact, simply because, for this type of knife with this type of locking mechanism, aluminum is plenty durable. It's absolutely plenty durable. I think we get hung up on titanium and things like that as knife guys, but the aluminum scales are great. The acoustics are good on this. Much better than the G10. Now, I've never had a G10 Amphibious. However, I have had both a G10 and aluminum ram lock, and I will say that the aluminum is a nicer experience all around than the G10. Your mileage may vary, just my opinion. But yeah, this one has just been one of my favorites. My buddy Chris, Bacon Swag FL, kind of had some questions a couple of days ago about the Amphibious. And, I recommended to him, go ahead and get the aluminum. He got the really cool, the apocalyptic finish, apocalyptic blade, and apocalyptic scales. And honestly, I kind of got this I did get this year. But it was what's the production year on this? Does it say? Oh yeah, on the clip. It says on the clip. So yeah, this is December of 2023. This one came out. I'm glad I got this one, but the apocalyptic look awesome. If I were to get another, I would probably get the apocalyptic. They do come in a lot of flavors, a lot of different scale, colors, blade finishes, things like that. The good thing about these knives right here, they're readily available. They don't seem to really run out of stock. They do a lot of runs of these, and so that's another positive. So it has been a great year, in my opinion, for Microtech. I picked up a bunch. I've sold a few off, but I have picked up some, and I've really been enjoying Microtech. Oh, and just as a sidebar as well, Microtech has always been delivering blades with even grinds, which is not something I can say for even every knife in this video right here. So that's something that I appreciate as well. Let's move on to Emerson. All right, so we got an Emerson right here. This is the Super CQC 7. All right. I picked up, I think, 4 Emersons this year. I've already sold one off. I sold off the Apache, which I thought was going to be one of my favorites, but I don't know. Something about it, it just didn't resonate with me as much as a couple of others that I picked up. And this one, I really like the Super 7. Now, the CQC 7 is one of Emerson's most popular models, but it is a bit diminutive in size. I think it's like a 3.3 inch blade length, and so it's not my favorite in the group. But yeah, the Super CQC 7, when you make it supersized, it doesn't become overly huge because it starts off on an already small platform. So it's not like taking a knife that's already kind of big, like the CQC 8, and then making it up in size again. So it's not quite like that. So I think this is a great size and a great carry. It does feature that chisel grind, that wrong side chisel. I just think this knife is really cool. I do like, it's my first Emerson also with a thunderstorm finish, which I think looks great. I'm not sure 100% how they do it. It's some sort of coating. It almost looks like it's like gun bluing, like a chemical process, and then they tumble it. But I could be totally wrong with that. I'm not sure. But I've also put a pretty nice edge on this for my KME. Put a nice edge on that as well. So yeah, this knife's really sharp too. Yeah, I definitely dig this one. This one has been a favorite of the few Emersons that I've gotten. I could have actually swapped this out with another one, but I decided to go with the CQC 7. So that one's on the list as well. Let's talk about this one right here. This is the kind of community build XM24. Now, I got this early in 2024, I think March or April. I got this one, but then I sent it off to the shutter dug, got some scales put on it. Took him a while to get that done, but then he sent it off to Satu Dave for a sick regrind, nice hollow regrind on that. And this is just a super cool Bowie 24 now. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I've always liked the XM24. I prefer it over the XM18. I think a lot of people would naturally gravitate more towards the smaller XM18. Or if you haven't checked out my video yet, I'll maybe link that video in the description as well. The Hinderer Project X. So this one is just kind of bigger all around. It's a hefty carry. And generally speaking, the Hinderer knives are going to have kind of thicker grinds. The Bowie is one of the, well, not the thickest one. It's one of the thinner ones that they offer. But with this regrind on there, it is just super, super slicey. I mean, this thing cuts like a dream. So I'm really, really pleased with this. This one will likely be a forever knife simply because it's got such a cool story with the Satu Dave regrind and the shutter dug. The only scales that he's ever done for a Hinderer. So I have that as well. So yeah, this is definitely a very cool one. I think I'll be hanging on to this one for quite a long time, and it's definitely one of my favorite knives of 2024. So let's see. We'll go ahead and do this one right here. The Cold Steel Demco designed AD10. Now this knife has been around for a while. I mean, if it's AD10, I believe it was first introduced in 2010, so it's been around for a long time. So this is not a new knife at all, at least not a new design, but this version is new. It came out in 2024. Cold Steel released the full TI version at Blade Show, and they offered it in two varieties, the blasted TI scales and also a PVD coated, a little bit of a smoother finish on the scales and a PVD coat. And it also features a 3V blade, as you can see right there. So it's an upgrade from the standard S35 VN. These are made in Taiwan. I think this is the only non-USA knife in the group, non-USA made knife in the group that I'm featuring. But man, this thing's just so nice. And Midway USA, I did a video on this that was actually very popular. Midway USA released these, or they got a hold of these from Cold Steel, and they're selling them at $250. At $250, this knife normally retails at $400. At $250, this knife is 100% lead pipe lock, no brainer. Go out and get it. It's definitely going to just be an awesome knife in your collection. I did some work with this over the weekend. I had to replace some sprinkler heads, and so I was cutting into sod and everything else. And yeah, this thing it's a great knife. Now I have touched up the edge since then. It did, of course, it took some damage cutting in dirt and all that crap. But yeah, I touched it up. I will say, and I'll do a tabletop on this one and its cousin, because I have the PVD handle one as well. They are not ground perfectly even from the Taiwanese factory, and that is a bit of a bummer. One of the bevels looks a little bit different, so it's ground thinner on one side than it is on the other, and I found that to be the case with both versions of the knife that I have, so that is a bit of a bummer. But when the machine ground AD10s are released, if they're released, if they get into production, I know Demco had them for one of the more recent Blade shows, where he had some, I don't know if they were full custom or if they were Midtech, like machine assisted custom, something like that, but they were pretty pricey. I do want to see some AD10s that are done in a way like the AD20s, where you get the machine ground option and they're, like a quote unquote Midtech design. I would like to see some AD10 versions produced like the 80-20, where you got G10 option, you got full TI option, and I would definitely seek to grab one of those and kind of do an apples to apples comparison. I think the ones that he's most recently released are a bit more custom. I think they're probably hand ground blades, something like that, because they're quite a bit more expensive than the standard like 80-20 that he'll put out from his shop in Pennsylvania. But in any case, these are fantastic knives. I would highly recommend picking one of these up while Midway still has them at $250. I'm shocked that they still have them, but I would definitely recommend picking one of these up. This may be my favorite knife of 2024 that I picked up in 2024, and frankly, this knife was released in 2024, so this is probably my favorite knife of 2024. I may just go out on a limb and say that right now. So last one, maybe I should have saved the Cold Steel for last, but the last knife I'm going to have is my most recent knife, actually, and it is the Protech TR4, and this is the new version with magnet cut steel and the apocalyptic finish and the new button. Now, if you watched my video, my first impressions of this knife, I was very, very critical of this safety switch, but I had since then talked to, I assume the same person that I've been talking with before over at Protech, and I've softened my stance on it. They actually put a lot of thought and design into this and changing it. Now, I still wish it wasn't there, but I can appreciate what they did and the effort and the thought that they put into it. So I have softened my stance on this. I was very critical in my first impressions video. So I've kind of changed my tune just a little bit, but yeah, this knife is just great. I mean, it really is. I'm going to do a full tabletop review of this one in, I don't know, in a couple weeks. There's no rush on it. But yeah, it's definitely very snappy. It's not Microtex snappy, but it's more than adequate. And this is like a really nice carry as well. It's light. It's very easy in the pocket. This pocket clip's fantastic. Opens with authority, got a really aggressive profile. I like that shape. I like the blade shape. I like the finger grooves. I like everything about this knife. I still don't like the safety. I wish it wasn't there, but I no longer have the strong feelings that I had for it when I initially did the video. The first impressions video, that is. Just hit 20 minutes on this video, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you're not following me on Instagram, give me a follow at Chuck_Nunface. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Those of you that have, I certainly do appreciate that. Let me know in the comments what you think of my list. What do you think I'm missing on my list? If you know the type of knives that I have and everything else, what do you think I'm omitting? And let me know what some of your favorite knives are that you've picked up this year. It doesn't have to be released in 2024, just something you've picked up this year that you think is just awesome and everybody should try and everything else. And let me know in the comments what that is. But thanks for checking out the video, y'all. Stay tuned for the next one, and peace out.